Now this is easily one of my favorite Boruto chapters in a very long time because I have essentially no complaints on this whatsoever. The art was fantastic, the story overall was pretty good, and it was most importantly consistent with the overall theme and established lore of the series. And it's chapters like these which really make me wish and wonder that what if, just what if, we got a little bit more of Boruto every month. But alas, that is not actually going to happen, so there's no need to complain about it. So hello and welcome to WhyZ, and let's talk about Boruto Chapter 63. But before that, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to our channel since I do weekly anime and manga related content along with a bunch of other stuff. With that being said, let's just jump into it. So right out of the bat, this chapter begins with the confrontation between Boruto and Code when he arrived on the scene to save Kawaki's ass. Now, the first half of this chapter is essentially dealing with the fallout, or you could say fall down, between Boruto and Kawaki with their two opposing worldviews, and this is probably going to be the starting point for the eventual feud. I'm not here essentially saying that Kawaki is going to be the main villain. I've already made a video about Kawaki's quote-unquote villainness last month. You can go and watch it. Links are in the description below because I really do not believe that Kawaki is going to become the quote-unquote villain, the major villain of the series. It's just that he has a different point of view. He essentially worships Naruto in the very same fashion as Ishike Otsutsuki was worshipped by none other than Code. It's the same kind of respect, it's the same kind of reverence, and this is pretty evident right from the get-go because Kawaki just pushes away Boruto saying that you don't understand, I'm doing this for the sake of the Nanadaime, I want to save the Hokage, I do not want to cause any more troubles. So this is perhaps going to be the starting point for his fallout, and his entire obsession with Naruto might eventually be the cause for the destruction of Konoha in a way. Again, I have discussed all of these things in depth, so please go and watch that video. I do not want to reiterate the very same things here because I feel like it's the same thing which can be applied in this chapter as well. But moving on, Boruto just smacks Kawaki out of his nonsense and he's like, just stop it dude, you might be trying to save the Nanadaime, but here I'm trying to save you bro, it's my right to be able to save you. And that's just such a wholesome moment which even makes Ada, who is listening to all of these conversations, just blush. She's just blushing throughout this entire chapter. She has a doki doki moment where her heart is beating and she's basically a simp for this entire chapter for both Kawaki and especially for Boruto. She's like, Boruto wants to take care of Kawaki, oh that's so sweet, and she's just basically simping over her boys. Yeah, that's the thing. Ada is basically playing like a, you could say, fan fiction writer here, and Daemon is just sleeping throughout this entire chapter. He is not even involved into the overall mix. The most important part, however, of this chapter belongs to the fight between Code and Boruto, and we get some more information about the karma mark, which is obviously a very good thing. So essentially what happens here is that Code is fighting off against Boruto, and in the beginning Boruto is able to do some damage. I mean, I won't say it is essentially damage, but he's just able to evade some of the attacks and utilize some very sick ninjutsu moves. Now these are not essentially ninjutsu moves, like he just uses Rasengan and the Thunder Strike, but beyond that he uses the shurikens to perform Shadow Doppelganger or Shadow Clone Jutsu, which is very impressive. These are some of the combo moves which I really love from the OG Naruto days, and whenever I see that in the Boruto era as well, I'm just a very happy boy. I'm just a very happy boy. And in fact, Code is also sort of impressed by this particular technique. He's like, okay, it's fun to play with a ninja or fun being like a ninja, but beyond that he just smacks the shit out of Boruto and he's like, you know what, it's not just because you are having or progressing the karma or you are becoming an Otsutsuki, it's not a result of the direct Otsutsukification process, but rather the true essence in your power, the true increase for your power lies within the true essence of karma. And that is, guess what? It's the overall, you could say, experience of an Otsutsuki for fighting for millennia and decades, which is accumulated within the karma mark. And that makes a lot of sense because the karma mark is essentially like a chip. It's like a data code, it's like an SSD card, you could say, or a memory card, which plugs into a body or into a vessel to reiterate or revive the Otsutsuki. So it absolutely makes sense as to why an Otsutsuki's experience and battle prowess will also be stored in this particular chip, you could say. So the final battle here is essentially going to be Code's White Karma, which is the pure fighting prowess of the Otsutsuki, versus Boruto's Momoshiki based karma. So that is the most important part which is going to be explored in the future of the series. and very soon the time skip is coming. It's absolutely for sure. Now I have a separate theory of my own which I'm going to talk about in maybe tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. But Boruto is definitely getting the scar sometime very soon. Either it's going to be directly from Code because of his claw marks and whatnot, or the other theory, it's also making a little more sense for me right now. It's that Boruto gives this scar to himself. In an attempt to save his body from being taken over by Momoshiki, Boruto might try eventually to scar his own eye in an attempt to save or in an attempt to stall Momoshiki's Otsutsukification. Again, I'm going to discuss that in a separate video, so stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, it's going to drop very soon. But in fact, after Boruto is pushed over the edge by none other than Code, his Otsutsukification appears, his karma mark evolves, and now he's having the very same karma mark patterns on his hand, the glove-like patterns, and he also has an additional karma pattern beside his eyes. But the most important fact here is that he is not having Momoshiki's horns. So what exactly is happening here? Is he somehow able to control the full, complete Otsutsukification? Is he able to somehow tap into the powers of Momoshiki without losing consciousness? Are the drug pills actually working? Were the drug pills even something which was good for him? Or was this a ploy or a plot all along by none other than Amado? So these are a lot of different questions which have been raised by this chapter, and I'm really glad with the way in which the overall chapter has been, associated and structured overall. This is a really fine chapter, and in the midst of the battle, basically, Naruto and the others are searching for Kawaki, but just then Naruto remembers that, okay, Boruto was also there, and now they're basically going to focus their search on Boruto. And that is something which even Boruto says that he's not just some stupid kid anymore. He measures his moves now, and he knows that Naruto and the others will track him down with his chakra, and that's why they are going to be able to save Kawaki at this moment. So overall, I'm really a huge fan of this chapter. I really enjoyed it a lot, and it's a long while since I have really enjoyed a chapter this much without making any major complaints. Now I know that nothing is perfect, so I have to give some form of a criticism, and if anything, it's a very old criticism which I've had for a very long time, but I think that it still applies a lot here, and that is the overusage of the speed lines. The first half of this chapter is absolutely fine, the art and everything is really good, the panel with the three boys, that is Code, Boruto and Kawaki, is beautiful, but the second half of this chapter, it's just over-reliance on speed lines, and at times it really becomes unbearable to some extent. So yeah, that's my only complaint or criticism you could say of Boruto Chapter 63. Otherwise, this is a really fine chapter. Also, is this final panel a new form for Boruto? Again, we're gonna talk about that in a separate video. So this is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more. Also, please join the channel membership for some very cool perks and features, and join our Discord server for more. This is WhyZ. See you all on the next one.